wrestling fans. I am Daniel Shine, and this is the debut episode of Flesh Wound Features presents Squared Circle Society. Many of you are listening tonight, maybe for the first time. Of course, I am from Flesh Wound Radio, and I am joined, from that as well, by the man who makes Enzo Amore look like Right to Censor era Steven Richards, Todd Loya. Todd.
How you doing?
Todd, of course you know. And, of course, we are also joined by the voice of the underground, Ozzy V, and Kyle Wilde. How goes it, gentlemen?
Greetings, everybody. How we doing tonight?
Doing fantastic.
Awesome. This is our debut episode. I know some of you might be listening, UEW fans. We probably hopefully got some Flesh Wound Radio fans tuning in too. And yes, this is the debut episode. Yes. Debut episode. And, I'm very excited. Gentlemen, you're coming off of a hell of an event. I just finished it myself. Mother's Day Massacre.
Did we already forget to say sponsored by UEW Wrestling?
Oh, it's the first show. I probably fucked it up. But close.
I
botched. Botchamania. We can do it the podcast edition. So, yeah, UEW presents. So how are you guys doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing great.
Good.
Looking forward to talking some wrestling.
Yeah, so, we can just hop right to it. Last Saturday, May 12th, at the VFW in Sun Valley, we had Mother's Day Massacre. We had a pretty stacked card, and I've actually been with UEW for 2 years. The biggest card I've been a part of since then. We opened up with Human Tornado against Darwin Finch, and two were having a great match, but then all of a sudden just had, after I'd say about maybe 5-10 minutes, they just took it to the back. And Kyle, I think maybe that might have been your call because the ref came back out and said that someone in the back changed it to a false count anywhere. I just imagined it was you.
That's correct. Yeah, at that time, DC Brown told me they were out in the streets and they were going around the corner. I said, follow them. Make sure you stay on. See if we can get a cameraman down there and let's get the pinfall submission no matter where it happens.
Yeah, now, we're going to come back to that match because it's kind of going to be multi-story throughout the night. But the ref actually came back out for his next match and he said that he had actually lost the two. So
he almost got hit by a fucking semi-truck and attacked by a big dog is what he told me.
Holy cow. Well, that can happen, I guess. So while they continued fighting, we just went on with the next match, which was a fatal four-way. And that actually had it was interesting. This match was interesting because you had a regular in the underground in Charming Biagio Crescenzo, right? And you had two newcomers in the American Oni, right? And then you also had the Man in Black, Alex Salyers. Both newcomers to the underground, both given a warm underground welcome, I believe you could say. And
you could call that a warm underground welcome. I guess the only way the underground fiends know how to welcome somebody like that. But that kind of reminded me of the days of Hatebreed Ricky Barrera. I thought that guy was about to get his head ripped off.
We were good, just for the record.
Yeah,
you were dodging that $20 bounty, Todd.
I was. I don't think you knew about that.
A little history though on Salyers. Actually, he has competed in UEW before. This is a whole new take on his career right now. He's switched gears. He's now the Man in Black. But we once saw him as Alex Sinister and went one-on-one with R3 back in the day.
Oh.
Okay, well, a return of sorts. I sit corrected. But another return we also had was Freddie the Chiver Havoc.
Yeah, a lot of people waiting for this one.
And he was completely jacked, although with Charming Biagio Crescenzo in this sort of alliance with Fern Owens and Mr. Clark, Fern Owens at ringside and the history that him and Freddie had, you have to wonder if Fern had not been out there, would Freddie been able to pull out a victory? Because I think, sitting right there, it kind of looked like Freddie was distracted with Fern a lot of the time.
Old cuts still sting. Fern and Freddie have a very checkered past, and we know Fern has been on top of that game for quite some time. He always seemed to have the advantage in their past matches, and Freddie walking in here, he's redetermined. He's newly focused. He knows what he wants. He sees Fern Owens, somebody that has been a thorn in his side for years, and now this man is the fucking heavyweight champion. So that's got to dig a little deep inside the heart of Freddie Havoc.
Absolutely, even saying so after the match a little bit, which, by the way, Alex Salyers ended up getting the pin after American Oni had landed. Oh, I'm not going to get into that exactly, but Alex Salyers getting the pin, celebrating, and right before heading to the back, he said, we mentioned, Freddie the Traver Havoc calling up for Owens and saying he'll even go into a one-on-one confrontation with Alex Salyers. So that would also be exciting to see. Next match we had was a two rules match, which was competed with no disqualifications, false count anywhere, between Lord of Two and the Insaniac. And this had a bit of grudge building up to it. Last match over at March of the Damned, the two had met, and there was some outside interference, resulting in not quite a finish like you'd like to see. So we had a rematch here, but in the weeks leading up, the Insaniac had, I believe, gone on to Lord of Two's podcast.
The lunatic was on the loose.
Exactly. He had a cameraman with him, and he wanted to send a message. And we saw on UITV the shot of Lord of Two's wife, who's 9 months pregnant, asleep, and we were only led to speculate, as Lord of Two had said, that he had to believe that was Insaniac watching over her. So there's definitely a lot of animosity.
I was going to say, I have it under good authority that was the hand of Mr. Loya.
I don't know who would imply that,
stop throwing Insaniac under the bus, He's got enough problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He took a beating for you, Todd.
Right? That's one person I wouldn't want to mess with. I could take baby dick punches, but I'm not messing with you.
So
I'm just saying.
So this match had a lot of beat behind it. Guys were beating the living shit out of each other, and we saw a return of Danny the Munch. And
Mr. Munch.
Right, Mr. Munch, as he had requested to now be known by. And Lord of Two was able to get away with the victory, and Munch had announced that Insaniac is going to be going through a gauntlet match over at Fledger Arena.
Yeah.
That's right, Kyle. Am I correct on that?
You're 100% correct on that. Danny Ramirez had a pretty ironclad. I don't know who the fuck was doing the contracts back in 2014 when we rebooted. Actually, I don't mean to stray off. That just reminded me right now. Today is May 17th, 2018. Today is UEW's birthday. We actually returned from the depths May 17th, 2014. So how fitting that we have the broadcast of Squared Circle Society tonight. It's pretty cool. But back to what you were saying about Danny Ramirez. Whoever fucking wrote that contract out, they knew what they were doing, and it favors Danny heavily. And unfortunately, for some, Danny Ramirez is here to stay, and he does have quite a bit of power as far as it comes to the talent portion of UEW. And I have no idea what the fuck he has in mind. I've tried to set up a meeting with him, and he's a hard little guy to get a hold of.
I'm glad you said that, because my first question would have been, why would you okay putting Insaniac through the gauntlet match as the general manager?
I would not have.
President. Okay.
I would not have. Unfortunately, even with the power I do have, we still have a booking committee and a championship committee, as well as Danny Ramirez. That's pretty much his job is to locate us new talent and bring them in and give them opportunities. So at this point, the committee stars in their eyes, I think. They see new guys coming in. I still have not had an opportunity to overlook who the talent is, but I have it under good authority that it's going to be something different here in UEW.
Okay.
Wow. All right. So that'll be happening at Pledge of Allegiance. But
That's
back
right.
to Mother's Day Massacre, the following match was a barbed wire boards and bats match between Trevor Fury, this massive 300-pounder, as who he claimed to be from Fuck You City, going against the Ref of Death, who just the underground favorite. Place went nuts for him when he came out.
Yeah.
And these guys
waiting a long
holy
time
cow.
to see him in the ring.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Kyle. This would be his official UEW debut, correct? Because SOS,
That's
course,
correct.
in the off season. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's correct. We never really count tournaments, things like that. Your official debut is when we actually have the first of the season. We always start anew in the first of the year. Once you're on those events, that would be your debut. And, yeah, that was Guido's debut in UEW, his singles debut, and he did not disappoint. I don't know what you guys thought. I was backstage watching it, and I could not take my eyes off it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brutal. Very brutal for you guys who haven't seen it yet.
Now, technically, two debuts. It's also Trevor Fury's underground debut. He participated in the Battle Royal at SOS.
That's right. That's right.
This is 1-1.
And, I think a lot of people would have thought Trevor Fury would have had this one in the bag. As Ozzy was saying, this guy's over 300 pounds. He's a fucking monster. And Guido is about half his weight, soaking wet. And you put Guido in there, but the level of violence that spewed from Guido was holy shit, man. I cannot wait to see what's in store in the future for Guido.
Agreed.
Yeah, he completely killed it. It was incredible. And just after seeing Trevor Fury, just the massive amount of blood that was lost. That was actually the first match on the night that we had really seen that much blood. But, yeah.
They drew blood.
Something else
They
to
drew
watch.
first blood.
Yeah. Now, right after that, this wasn't really a scheduled match. We had Mike Rain in action, UEW Eastern Pacific champion, longest reigning champion of Modern Era. He was set to defend the title, but it was in the sense of an open challenge. And someone who answered that challenge was actually sitting in the crowd as a fan. Tony Reyes was not scheduled to compete in that night. He was sitting in the crowd as a fan, and Mike Rain just kept basically talking shit on the locker room, saying that nobody could beat him. And, Tony Reyes sitting right there, right in front of him, took up the challenge. And those guys had a great match, and it was close. I really thought Reyes was going to walk out with that title, and we really would have seen the end of that reign. No pun intended.
Nearly 13 years now. It's fucking insane. I know a lot of people don't think too favorably of Mike Rain. Myself, do I think he's an a-hole behind the scenes or in the ring? That's neither here or there. Mike Rain continues to produce results. Mike Rain continues to take the victory. I don't know anyone in the modern era that's held a title as long as he has. So that already has something to be said about it. In addition to that, this guy, he doesn't just compete at UEW. Even in the last year when we had to take that brief hiatus, Mike Rain was going up and down the coast defending that title all over the place. I mean, Mike Rain truly has put what is the word I'm trying to think of here? He's put that title on a different pedestal. Yes, thank you. I don't know if anyone can take him down.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
We might be looking at a 20-year reign.
Right.
Who do you guys think is going to be the next challenger?
Say that again?
Who do you think is going to be the next to challenge for the belt?
It's at this point, it's like he's gone through our roster and has systematically defeated just about everyone that's in his past. right now, I know the booking committee, the championship committee, and myself, we're looking at different possibilities. I do promise this, that he will be defending that title at Pledger Allegiance, and it will be a big-scale match. However, I can't disclose who we are looking at right now until maybe a little bit closer.
Todd's dusting off that tool mask. That's my prediction. I don't have any inside knowledge. But he did call you guys the Fat Mark Mafia, Todd, so you kind of owe him a receipt.
I will give him props. That is the most creative to anyone talking shit on this there's been. It's normally not that famous. I give him props for that.
Yeah, but unfortunately, as we just mentioned, Mike Rain able to walk away with that title. It would be exciting to see a title change hands, but it's going to be a long day before we see that, I think. But next match we had was actually a women's division match. Not so much her debut. Ioka wrestled a March of the Damned against Mariah Moreno. Wasn't successful there. She had a match tonight against Silhouette. Now, Silhouette came out wearing a hood and a mask, and I think we're going to touch back on her a little bit later, but as I mentioned, Ioka not successful. However, even though she hasn't been successful yet in UEW, she was impressive in both matches. Coming from Dallas, Texas, definitely has the right aggressive attitude, I think, to survive in the underground. And I think both those matches could have gone either way.
I agree. I do have to kind of clear you up on one thing, though. Ioka did get a pinfall victory, her debut match against Mariah at March of the Damned. At the time, I know Max X is out there, so it might have been a little confusing. But, yeah, no, because of Max X being involved in that match, Ioka did get a pinfall on Mariah, which is why I think many thought Ioka was just going to blow through Silhouette. Silhouette, seemed to put in the fight there and continued to be a thorn in her side, and ultimately got the win. But again, Ioka, I think this is just the beginning for her.
Well, again, I said corrected, and I think if it happens a third time, a trapdoor comes out from under me, and I fall into a pit of spite.
You just fall.
So,
wait, hold. Well, damn it,
are we okay, Todd?
Screwed up. We were.
What a maneuver!
There we go. That was my botch spot, and I botched the botch.
You fucked up. You fucked up.
I need that on the board. That's going on the board.
I was gonna say that's the first for us. We never get to do that. We get to hear that.
This is true. Well, Ozzy gets an earful too of other things.
There we go. But yeah, the two. I mean, going back to the match. Sorry about that, real quick, but the two had a great match. As you said, Silhouette ended up coming out with the win. And about Silhouette, we'll touch on her a little bit later. Technically a newcomer to the underground. But next up, let's talk about the UEW number one tag team contenders match for the UEW tag team titles. Number one contenders match between the Homeless Assassins and Urban Discipline. This was Mac Damo's last match in UEW. Unfortunately, not as successful as he would have liked. And with Hellware Assassin, Homeless Jimmy, kind of stealing the belts, taking the right to kind of parade them around. They were in Vegas a little bit. Well, no, correct. They did steal them and paraded them around places like Vegas, all over the place, walking around like champions without actually earning the right. Now, they'll say that they never called themselves champions, but, I mean, come on.
I think the proof's in the pudding. You see those pictures. They look awfully cozy with those titles. I don't know what to say about that. It infuriates me, that whole entire situation. They, as many of you know, they were not welcome in UEW, specifically Homeless Jimmy. We had security drop the fucking ball that night. That's all there is to it. That's why we're two less now. I don't really know what to say at this point. They came in, they proved me fucking wrong. So they've earned their opportunity. They're going to get a shot. But do I think they're going to walk through the Vandal and BC Killer? Not a fucking chance.
I would normally agree with you there. as what happened that night is they were able to take the titles again. And we'll get there in a second, but Andre wasn't there to get BC's back.
Don't even get me started with that.
So, I mean, we saw they weren't on the same page. I mean, I don't mean to pry, but I mean, just to go back to March of the Dam, they weren't on the same page initially when Jimmy and Delaware Assassin came on to attack BC, and same thing happened again this time. I'm hoping for it. Third time's a charm. I'm really hoping for it, but I'm not too confident, I guess.
I'm not really sure what to say as far as the mind games that Andre Verdun likes to play. However, I am very confident, 100% confident, that there is not a person on this earth that doesn't breathe, sleep, and bleed those three letters more than anyone else. And when push comes to shove, when those invaders come back to our home and expect to have a title shot, Andre Verdun will be there. If he's not, I'll walk away if he's not there. How about that?
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not going to hold you to that, but I understand how adamant you believe that.
That's how confident
Andre will be there. I understand that, and it makes me confident. But so we'll just talk about this next match. This was a title match, UITV a title match for the UITV Championship. Challenger Bloodthirsty Vixen Mariah Moreno against Hardcore Kamikaze Max X. Max X won this title from
wait.
Tornado.
Before we got to that match, there was something that happened right before that match, right?
I thought this had happened right after this match. I apologize. That's my third trap.
No worries. It was a chaotic night. There was so much going on, specifically before this match. It's not something we like to talk about. It's something we hope never fucking happens. But unfortunately, one of our wrestlers, one of our brothers, was injured that night. After that chaotic match with Homeless Jimmy, Delaware, and Urban Discipline, the ring was filled with broken glass, light tubes, and shopping carts. And we were a little shorthanded. I myself was actually on the way out there to sweep the ring out. And Ozzy, I'll let you take it.
So what had happened, Human Tornado and Darwin Finch had come back to actually finish their match. We got DC Brown back into the ring, and I believe it was the end of a light tube that had been sticking out and kind of scratched Darwin Finn along his arm. Now, I didn't get to see the injury. I had to stay out there, but from what I heard, that it was quite the gash. And
it was a deep laceration. From what I heard, he was rushed to the emergency room just a couple minutes after that took place. He received 22 stitches down his arm, and right now he's not doing so well at the moment. I know he's out of work. He's hurting. So Darwin, we hope you're going to get well soon, brother. And we're all here supporting you.
Absolutely.
Of course, and unfortunately, at the end of the day, there has to be a winner, and Human Tornado did come out victorious. Now, before we move on, were we going to take a quick break, or should we just keep going?
Well, what do you guys think? We're still kind of early. We can talk about it and play it, unless we want to do the break now.
Let's kind of say what happened. I think at this time, if you're listening to the show, you're a wrestling fan. You're a fan of UEW, then you probably already know. If you're not, brace yourself. The Human Tornado, moments after the match, he took a second to kind of hang out and chat with the fans, and told us at that time he's been going through a lot. He's had a lump that showed up on him out of nowhere. He's already been dealing with a lot of back injury related issues. He had decided that that Saturday was his last in-ring match against Darwin Finch, and he wanted to end it in his home, UEW, which obviously meant a lot to us. And to be honest, no one knew that Tornado was going to do that. So it was heavy. A lot of us in the back were hearing it and for the first time, and it's sad at the end of the day, but you understand. I love Human Tornado. The first thing I want is his well-being. But of course, we're going to miss him. He had some of the best matches we had in UEW. He's former UITV champion. I mean, the guy was in fucking Nacho Libre. He's been everywhere. He's done it all. So we're going to miss him. And hopefully we can figure out a way to get Tornado to stick around in another faucet. You know what I mean? Do maybe a new role for the Human Tornado. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, he is a true legend. UEW, but just wrestling in general. I mean, this is a guy who, for anybody listening that isn't familiar with UEW, which hopefully you will be soon, Human Tornado goes back to all the top stars you're seeing now. He came up with.
That's right.
You're talking right out there with Kevin Steen, Kevin Owens now. He was part of that elite class of wrestlers that sort of started in the early 2000s, and seems like everybody is taken over the wrestling world recently. And I mean, he's a legend. Period. I mean, he's just a wrestling legend, and it's you guys will get to hear the speech, but yeah, it was very, very touching.
Should we go ahead and play that for them now, so they can hear that?
Yeah, we can. Absolutely can.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna play Tornado's speech in its entirety. We'll be back in about 5 minutes.
I got something important to say to you guys real quick. And I figured I'd do it in front of a family. UEW, you guys are like a UEW, you guys are like a retarded cousin that we really didn't like, you know what I mean? But you guys were always fucking, sorry kids, you guys were always there for for opportunities for anybody to come and get in this ring, especially with all this cool stuff around it. I mean, some of it's needed, some of it's not needed, but that's not really important. What's important is, you heard the sirens, right? That's exactly my point. What's important right now is what you do with your life. You can have this garbage around right now, or we can all just, clean it up like it eventually will be. But right now, I gotta let you guys know that I gotta take care of my life right now. In the year 2000, right? I had lower back surgery when I was at the age of 18. But then my dumb ass decided right after college, right? I wanted to do some pro wrestling because I thought it was fun. Yeah, look at it, it's shit. This is awesome, right? No, I gotta wrap this up because we got that cool ass main event that's gonna be just as awesome as this ring right now. But let me tell you this. If anybody wants to do anything in their damn life, don't let shit stop you. Because why? I'm able to at least stand up on 2 feet to walk my ass up out of here.
You're a so-called legend.
And I gotta say this is kind of going to be the end of my in-ring wrestling career right now. It's a lot of important stuff going on right now. Health-wise, it's not good. I got a doctor's appointment coming up, and it's a very life-threatening shit that's about to go down with me right now. So, other than having a bad back, entertaining you motherfuckers tonight, you know what I mean? Because this is what I do. This is what I do. This is shit I live for years and years and shit. This ain't shit to me. I do this on a daily. You ain't got to sign up for it. They tell you to go to training. They said pump that backyard shit. They said take your ass to training. I said put ass to training. And that's what everybody that's supposed to play a pro wrestler to do. Don't put up shit yourself, because this shit hurts. Look at all this glass in the ring. This is glass and blood. A shopping cart. What the?
So Tornado for president!
On my way out, I just want to say thank you guys.
Thank you!
And
Thank you!
If anything pops up, I want to make sure that I'm able to like at least be in the ring at least one more time. It could be anywhere, but right now it has to be right here. And I apologize greatly for that, you guys. But hey, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys around someday. Hold on. Where's all the bitches? You okay?
And we are back.
We are back.
Yes, we are.
That was a great. It was an emotional moment, you know. Tornado is actually the first champion I ever announced, so that's something sentimental about that. But yeah, you will be missed, Tornado. Thank you very much for all that, all the memories. And should we continue with the card? I'm sorry, I don't hope to not sound like an asshole.
No, this is how it is. The show goes on.
Did you fuck up again, Ozzy?
No, I didn't fuck up again, Todd.
What happened?
God.
I'm ready now.
Damn it, motherfucker.
Holy shit.
Todd already called me Dean Ambrose, so he's fucking with everybody.
Hey, I just want you all to remember, it's his yard, so don't fucking piss him off.
Oh, that's true. He is a big dog.
10 minutes of silence and booze.
So
yeah, let's go on with let's continue with the results of Mother's Day Massacre.
Yeah, why don't we continue with the results? Damn it. We had a UITV match between Mariah Moreno and Hardcore Kamikaze Max X. Max X capturing the UITV title from Tornado back last February 2017 over Passage to Pain. That was actually the last event at the UEW Arena, if I'm correct, yeah?
That's correct. Rest in peace.
Yes.
So Max X actually ended up losing that title to Bloodthirsty Vixen Mariah Moreno and making her the new UITV champion.
Yeah.
Upset, surprise of the night, well-deserved victory.
Absolutely.
And then we did have Silhouette return, interfering and then revealing herself to be none other than Sage Sin.
Yes, it shocked a lot of people, including myself. As many of you know, I'm married to Sage, and I had no idea she was there.
Oh wow!
I'm still not 100% sure that was the same Silhouette we saw earlier in the night, or if that was indeed Sage the entire time. I kind of think Sage took an opportune moment. I don't know how she was able to get the mask of Silhouette or the gear, so to speak. But I think she just knew when to strike and had this well thought out. And again, it's still unclear to me if she had reached out to Max Sex, if Max knew she was coming. He kind of looked a little surprised, but at the same time, she was there the moment that had happened and had his back. Turned around and then took him out. I don't know what the fucking strategy was there. I'm still not sure. I don't think anybody really knows what's going on besides in the mind of Sage Sin.
Yeah.
Awesome match, and yeah, huge shock. A lot of testicular trauma during that match. It's a great one. Todd likes that.
Well, yeah. Doesn't everyone?
You guys noticed the pumpkin war paint. The Pumpkin Queen seems to be gone. The face was no more.
Yeah.
It was a different side of Stage. There was no fucking tricks and treats. Or maybe there were some tricks. Definitely some tricks, but no treats, no candy in hand. It was definitely different.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that.
And at that conclusion, I believe she was asked by Derek Zane if there was any kind of message she was trying to send, and she had said that it was pretty obvious what she was after. I could only guess that to be the UITV title.
It's been something that's eluded her entire career, and I know it's something that she wanted very badly. I mean, she gave up the opportunity, something else she had wanted. She wanted to compete in the Sovereign of Slaughter Deathmatch tournament and have the same opportunities as the men. She was given that opportunity this year, and she turned it down because that title meant that much more to her. So, not even a Pumpkin Queen scorned. I don't know what to say. Heads are going to roll. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Perhaps a triple threat on the horizon. You never know. That was a great, shocking match. And Todd, not cool throwing the maxi pad in the ring. It's going a little too far, Todd.
That was
any word on whether there was some color on that?
I hope not.
Wow. So, but anyway, in any case, Mariah Moreno coming out with the title. She's now the current UITV champion. Congratulations goes to her. Now, next up was our main event for the. Sorry, next up was our main event for the evening. Now, this was scheduled to be UEW Heavyweight Champion Blackheart Fern Owens to defend his championship in a death match against Corporal Robinson. However, Kyle, I believe you were the one that got the phone call from Corp. Is that right? About what had happened?
Yeah, I did. Poor Corp, man. He's had a hard shake as of late. We had him out here for Sovereign of Slaughter 3, and he made it all the way to the finals, losing to Carnage. And shortly after that, we sent him home, and as we were checking in with him, he had been rushed to the emergency room. He had suffered a heart attack. They actually inserted 3 stents into his heart, and about 2 weeks later, he was already back in the ring competing. He actually, about a week before he was coming out to UEW, or was supposed to come out here to UEW, he went and competed at IWA Deep South. I forget the name of their tournament, the Super Stiff tournament, I believe is what it was. And Corp, I believe, went all 3 rounds and won the motherfucker. So we were thinking, Corp's, that didn't stop him at all. He's just going to keep going. And unfortunately, about 10 hours before his flight, his entire left side of his face swelled up like a balloon. And he called me immediately. She sent me pictures, and he was terrified. Had to go figure out what the fuck is going on because he hadn't done anything. It turns out he was rushed into surgery. We actually talked to him on the phone about an hour before the show was about to start, and he had an infection in his bloodstream that caused that huge swelling on his face. I believe it stemmed from the heart attack. So as of right now, Corporal Robinson, we probably will not see Corp in UEW for a while. We hope he's getting better. We hope he's taking care of himself and is following doctor's orders. We just want to see Corp be healthy, ultimately.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Our thoughts are definitely with
when
them.
one door closes, another opens.
That's right.
Yes.
We actually had someone who wasn't scheduled that night. One half of the UEW Tag Team Champions, BC Killer, stepped up to the plate, challenged Fern Owens for the UEW title in this death match. And wow, just completely tore the house down and just beat the fucking hell out of each other. BC actually getting, I specifically remember BC getting hit with a light tube, I believe, and getting a cut that caused blood to go in his eye, and he kept needing to wipe his eyes. He was telling me that after the match. I asked him, and he told me that he couldn't see anything at that moment. Just needed to get all that blood out, and yeah, it was definitely a mess. But you know, lightning struck twice here in this case, where towards the end of the match, you had Homeless Jimmy and the Delaware Assassin come out looking for the UEW Tag Team Championships, distracted BC Killer, and Fern was able to get away with the victory. And that's, I don't know how many times the title's been, you know, just in BC Killer's grasp, only for some kind of bullshit to happen like this.
Yeah. It continues to happen. I mean, I thought we were going to see a new champion. I don't know how that would have played out at Pledge Your Allegiance with BC having to compete twice had that happened. But holy shit, he was aimed up for that BC bomb. Homeless Jimmy and fucking Delaware Assassin had to get involved again, taking the titles back into their possession. And as you said, Fern Owens, the ultimate opportunist that he is, taking advantage of the situation and rolling up BC Killer, not something you see too often, and stealing his fucking title back.
Yeah, this match, more blood that you would think would even be possible. I mean, you would think they'd be dead. This was fucking brutal. Last match for anybody that wasn't there live. I mean, carpet strips were used. God, yeah, you mentioned that blood just flowing. I do not know how he's still alive. It was it was brutal.
BC has become infatuated with these gusset plate boards, and those things are fucking brutal. They just shred you to pieces, and Fern Owen got to witness that firsthand on Saturday night. BC, unfortunately, got the taste of it as well, and it's what, like you said, it was a fucking massacre in there. The event lived up to the name. No one's mom died, but
oh yes. Yes, it was,
next time.
Yes, this was like Peter Jackson, Dead Alive level gore in that ring. If you got little wrestling,
I will tell you,
got horror and wrestling fans.
I will tell you, there was about 10-inch round puddle of blood over where we were sitting. So it was. It was pretty
with
big.
A guy like Fern Owens, you know, a lot of people I think don't give him the credit he truly deserves. Fern Owens can stand with the best of them in deathmatch wrestling. I mean, I don't know if I want to say he's an up-and-comer. I mean, he's sort of new to deathmatch, but he's also kind of been doing it for a long time. He's never been a stranger to get in there and do something hardcore. He's no stranger to blood. I've seen him busted open many times, and it seems like he's really starting to come into his own here in deathmatch wrestling, at least here in UEW. I've seen he stepped in the ring with Michael Kruger, BC Killer, Mike Rain, dozens of competitors, Homeless Jimmy, and Ben continues to walk, and he is the UEW heavyweight champion.
He is.
No, say what you will about him. I mean, the guy can take a pretty biblical ass whipping. It was rough.
Keep going.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the only. I mean, while Fern Owens was able to regain the championship, that night wasn't over. We had a return. Now, I guess before we should really dive into this, I guess we should explain that we can just say that Carnage made his return on Saturday night, and he was on fire, literally.
Literally.
But actually, a little bit of backstory, just in case some might not know. Carnage actually was the winner of the Sovereign of Slaughter tournament back in January, and Fern Owens broke his arm, and he came back. He was in a cast, and I think you'd come out and announce that as a Pledge Your Allegiance, it's going to be Fern Owens versus Carnage in a death match.
I know it's going to turn into a fucking death match after we. It is officially a last man standing match. Did the door drop? Are you still here?
Yeah, no. Scorpion's going to come uppercut me off a bridge.
We made it a last man standing match. I'm sick of these two, and they continue to try and get the upper advantage. And as we saw in that match with BC Killer, we had a distraction with Homeless Jimmy and Hellaware Assassin, and Fern was able to capitalize with that quick roll up. I don't want to see anything go down like that again. Maybe I'm making it too violent, making it last man standing, but I think we need to have it to the point where the other man is incapacitated and can no longer move. And that's how we're going to crown who the true UAW heavyweight champion is. Carnage has been dealing with Fern Owens for well over a year now. He's been injured by him multiple times. This time at SOS, a little bit more severe, breaking his arm. But again, I know this is something Carnage wanted. This is something the UEW Fiends wanted, most importantly. And, Fern Owens keeps writing checks that his ass can't cash. Eventually it's going to come in and it's going to bounce. So let's see what happens when we put him in there with Carnage and have it be in a fair setting. It's anyone's game. We've seen Fern walk out of these things. We know Carnage loves Carnage. So we're going to find out come July 7th.
And it's going to be a hell of a show.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one very much.
Completely stacked cards. It almost took us an hour just to talk about the card by itself.
Yes.
Highly recommend if you didn't catch it out. Be sure it'll be on Vimeo soon to stream, Blu-rays, DVDs. Highly recommended.
And we should put over the fact that you can currently purchase March of the Damned on DVD, Blu-ray, and on Vimeo. And it has absolutely. It has 3 bonus unreleased matches too.
Excellent.
All for $10 on DVD, $15 on Blu-ray plus shipping.
Where else are you gonna get a deal like that?
Yeah.
Are we doing the bulk DVD sales online as well, or is that just an event only?
Right now, we still need inventory, so I know that's coming soon. Hopefully sooner than later.
Something to look forward to.
Yes. And since we're doing that real quick, SOS is now the regular DVD and Blu-ray price of $10 for DVD and $15 for the Blu-ray.
Oh, beautiful!
So it's dropped. Yeah. All available on fleshwoundfeatures.com/UEW or on the main page. Click Underground Empire Wrestling.
Absolutely.
You check out something. You live close to Ref Danielle, right, Todd?
I do.
How's she doing? I just kind of that completely phased my mind. BC put a fucking light tube across her teeth, and I've never seen Danielle lose that much blood. So when I spoke to her, she seemed okay, but I have not talked to her since the event.
This is true. I spoke to her the day after, and she was still recovering. I actually briefly saw her in passing today, and I haven't actually spoke to her. She's up and around, so that's a good thing.
Not the way, after we saw that message from Verdun on ITV, I was worried he was going to put hands on her, but I didn't even think, and I don't know why, you're in the ring with the Body Count Killer, and those titles were no longer in his possession. I saw what was happening. I saw the wheels turning, and she could not get out of there quick enough.
Yeah. Not the first time she's been in the mix of things, but that was definitely the bloodiest.
No, she's a trooper. I know she was in there working with damaged ribs. She broke her finger earlier in the day setting up the ring, and then to be attacked like that, and she's still ticking. So, Ref Danielle, she's the Iron Man referee of UEW.
Absolutely.
To referee a Fern Owens BC Killer match, you got to be tough, and she bled for it.
That's right.
So yes, definitely get
though.
on fleshwoundfeatures.com. You can't miss this, guys. I've seen it. I can personally vouch for it. That's one of the bloodiest main events you will see now, then. I mean, it was just, oh, man, you're in for a treat when you check that out. So yeah.
I was going to say, don't say forever, because then we're copyright infringing.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, shit. Todd, you've been sued enough. Yeah, you got to complete it. I'm telling you, Todd. Get sued by WWE next.
And I believe UEW had to change a viewing party, or technically I believe that was another sponsored by, was Kyle Wilde's birthday bash had to be changed. Was it your birthday bash? I can't remember now.
Yeah, it was the biggest sports entertainment birthday bash of the year.
Yes, because they got mad for the...
I got the cease and desist.
For the WM word.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Connecticut.
Someone needs to book Zombie Benoit.
Yeah. Or
Enzo. Enzo might be an interesting one to book. Todd's favorite wrestler.
He's in LA, Kyle. Why don't you talk to the booking committee?
Is that something we want? Do we want an underground Enzo Amore?
I think I just want to
be the new Big Cass. You can be like the rapey Big Cass, Todd. I mean, same thing. Come on out and
you can't.
You're not quite 7 foot tall, but you're close enough.
I just want to see him get the underground welcome. Is all. That might beat that might beat even the Ricky Barrera riots. Maybe on par with the hate riots, but it's going to be close.
How much more time?
I didn't like him as cruiserweight champ, but I would love to see that.
How much time we have? Technically, we have up to an hour and 7 minutes, so we have plenty of time to do whatever.
Okay.
Which
never mind.
Well, and I know we have a few questions from listeners, but since we already tackled Enzo, this is interesting because, Todd, I know you had a pretty passionate discussion with a fellow podcaster that was kind of entertaining about this. The recent news is that Enzo has been cleared legally of any wrongdoing, and this has had a very fiery debate. Did he get a raw deal, no pun intended, from WWE letting him go when turns out, nothing happened. Well, legally nothing happened. Todd, well, any of you can weigh in on this. It's an interesting debate because on one hand, you should say he should have informed them, but he's fucked if he does that. So it's like he's kind of fucked either way. It's an interesting – how do you guys see it?
Well, I've told you my opinions. I think it comes down to the fact, yes, I know that the key word I was having the disagreement with was that he wasn't charged till that Monday. But he was aware of the investigation, and that's where he screwed up. Is it going to fuck with his push? Yes. Should he have told them? Absolutely. Because now there's no way they can trust him or ever bring him back.
Yeah. Does he have a legal case against him, though?
I can guarantee you they didn't fire him for what happened. They fired him for another reason. And you think their lawyers are not that smart? They're not going to fire him for the allegations. Right. They're going to fire him for any other number of things. He was already on thin ice anyway.
That's true. Yeah, it's a very, very interesting way to look at it. I'm kind of curious if he stays in the wrestling business. It seems like Impact has a habit of hiring some people with either domestic violence issues or legal problems that can't get them deals with WWE. Do you think we're going to see him show up in the Impact Zone?
Well, they already got Rich Swann, so I don't know why not.
I think it's very possible.
They could actually be their own tag team there. Just gimmick that.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Actually work for him.
Oh my God.
And
they break up when he roofies too young.
they shouldn't even have to say anything. Just the two of them come out, and it's Enzo Amore and Rich Swann, and everybody just knows. They don't even need to say anything.
Exactly.
But I get people watching.
Oh.
I think absolutely it's a matter of time before Enzo shows up on Impact.
Yeah. And I already got to say, they got to come out. They got to come out to the Cosby Show theme. Just saying.
No, are you kidding me? They need to get Bill Cosby out of jail, and he needs to be their manager.
Right.
There you go. Pudding and pills deathmatch.
Oh, there you go. Yikes.
We're a tasteless show. Well, it's going to carry over, but
yeah, it definitely left a bad taste in my mouth.
It's what all they said about Cosby. Well, no, it's not allegedly. He was convicted, so fuck yeah, it's not allegedly. So we had a couple questions that I thought were actually interesting from some listeners. Actually, one of our Flesh Wound girls had asked this. What is the most offensive chant you have ever heard in a live crowd anywhere in a wrestling event?
Rape killer. I'm immediately saying rape killer, UEW.
Is that chanted at you, Todd?
No, I was part of the chanting.
I don't know if you want to explain that one.
I don't know if it's necessarily the most offensive, but the most entertaining and creative one I heard was actually back at, I believe it was XPW's 10-year anniversary. Christina Von Eerie was in the ring. I think it was like Rev Pro and some other. I forget what the match was, but Christina Von Eerie was ringside, and the crowd was just being relentless with her. And she turned around and spit at one of them, and they started going off with the "You should swallow," and the whole fucking place erupted. The "You should swallow," and that was pretty out there.
Oh wow. I'd have to say for me it was an ECW show in New York, I believe, and it was a big Bischoff takes it up the ass chant. They started singing it.
See, to me,
just erupted.
I don't find any of those particularly offensive. Even the rape killer one I brought up earlier. I think there was one. It was a Raw after WrestleMania where they were like super disrespectful to the. Oh, maybe it was this year. When they were chanting the women's husbands or boyfriends' names at them, were like the Bella or the Nikki Bella Cena one didn't bother me, but like some of the other ones that were just them being smart marks, to me that was disrespectful.
I thought you were going to say the Kari Sane "Me Love You Long Time" chants they were yelling at her at the NXT show. I thought that's where you were going to go with that. She got
I know
rough
we've said some fucked up things and had dick tape thrown at us, so I don't know where the line is apparently. So
there were some I've heard some pretty bad ones over the years, but I've heard "You've Got AIDS" chanted. That might have been XPW actually, come to think of it. I can't remember. But I've heard some crazy ones, but yes, that's our most offensive chants. It's kind of a two-part question. Wildest moment that you ever witnessed in a live crowd? I have one. It's nobody famous, but what is your guys?
No.
Hands
Shocking.
down, the wildest moment I've ever witnessed at a live professional wrestling event was during, I forget which event it was. I believe it was Malicious Intent at UEW. Sage Sin and Ricky Barrera were wrestling in the ring, and we had this guy who is now dubbed the Flyer Guy. He, for some reason, got up during the match and started passing out flyers ringside, which pissed off a lot of people. We told him to get the fuck out of there. And instead, he started fucking making it rain with flyers everywhere. I have never seen a more cohesive the fans and wrestlers, and even Ricky Barrera that came out of the ring, and they just stomped a fucking mud hole in this guy, and there was a puddle of blood a huge puddle of blood in the arena, and it leaked all the way out from the arena, down the steps, into the parking lot, down the street, around by Little Caesars. There was blood down East LA everywhere to this guy. I don't know how he walked away.
Wow.
I have to say that's partly my fault, because I said if that motherfucker hands me a flyer, I'm smacking the stack out of his hands, and I did because he tried.
Rightfully so. I don't know. And
that was
for us. It was like a Looper show or something, I believe.
Yeah, it was very disrespectful, and we don't like that. I mean, we may chant disrespectful shit, but we're not like that disrespectful. Well, since you took that one, you know mine's going to be when some uninvited guests showed up from a rival promotion and the melee that proceeded. Do we put that one off on Tornado for smacking one of them?
But, you know, he engaged. I mean, he did engage. I mean, you kind of. I don't know if it was really Rico or Tornado that really sparked it, but yeah, Tornado had enough of that shit, and the minute hands laid on the other, it was a fucking riot. I guess, yeah, I hadn't really ever seen anything like that. I mean, we had the riots back in the day with Ricky Barrera, but nothing like that. I thought that was going to be our last night in business, and the auditorium was going to be shut down after that.
Wow. I would, for me, and mine's a gross one, and this was nobody famous. I don't think they went on to do anything, but it was a very small show in West Virginia, and there was a guy who his gimmick was he was called something Skittles, and he had like a Skittles shirt. It was the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life, and he was fighting this Russian guy, Russian gimmick. The guy looked Irish, red hair. It was the worst show I've ever been to in my life. And
did he make him taste the rainbow?
Huh?
Did he make him taste the rainbow?
So, all right. So what happened? The Skittles guy was terrible. The whole time, asking the Russian, the Irish Russian, what to do. I mean, you could hear them call spots the entire time. But the Skittles guy came out like he just got out of the gym. He was sweating. He just looked off. And about 5 minutes into the match, when I say he shit himself, he fucking exploded in the ring, and it was the most vile thing I've ever seen in my life. The other guy was trying not to throw up. They ended the match, and that was the wildest thing I have ever seen. Full-on blowout, half the people left. Shittiest show, literally, I've ever seen. So
did they,
mine's gross, but...
Did they call it a shit squalification?
If they didn't, they fucked up, and they should have.
Exactly.
They definitely should have. That was the last show I ever went to in West Virginia. Not quite as thriving there as California. So yeah, that was the wildest moment, and I can't describe how fucking gross it was. It was a moose lodge, and you could smell this in the back row. It was the worst show I've ever been to. AC didn't even work. God, that was terrible. It was like August, and so that's my worst.
So you're surrounded by sweaty other people and the smell of shit rising. That's great.
Oh, it was terrible. Yes. Oh God,
I've been there.
You shit yourself in the ring, Todd?
No, I've had to sit. I've had to sit by smelly people.
Okay. I promise you,
people
it wasn't as bad. But...
No comment.
So our other question.
It happens to the best of us. Sometimes you just don't want to miss the fucking match, you know?
In training, it's not unheard of, yeah. I've never seen it live, but I've heard stories in training it happens. Puking more than crapping yourself.
It happens during the live events, you know, fairly often, too. Thankfully, I haven't been in a locker room where that's happened, but I know of people, and I know of of people probably that have had that experience. And it happens.
Yeah.
I guess it just depends on how you roll with it and how messy it really is. So it's not noticeable.
Hopefully it's not the beer shits.
Oh yeah, right. We're gonna have to
knows
do
from experience.
I know. Yeah,
there could be a death match scenario there. That would be unique, but I don't know. So it's funny.
All over it.
The other question we got: dumbest gimmick that you actually enjoyed and you're not ashamed to say so in any wrestling promotion.
Dumbest gimmick.
See, I don't consider it a gimmick,
fan
but I was always Ahmed Johnson. He didn't really have much. He was just a dumb worker, but I enjoyed him. But that's not really falling in the dumb gimmicks, I don't think. Something I didn't love, but like the Flying Elvises and early TNA, I enjoyed them, but that was because of their work. Yeah, it wasn't their gimmick. So, like that, I loved it. That's hard. Do you guys have anything off the top of your head?
Well, mine, one that I think, everybody will know, it's a WWE thing, and it was interesting because it was the last truly non-PG angle that they were getting ready to do before they switched it, and that was the incest angle between Paul Burchill and Katie Lee Burchill, which of course translated into a pirate gimmick with Burchill and Shelly Martinez at first. And as stupid as that was, he kind of made it work. I didn't hate the gimmick. He actually kind of made it work. And I don't know. That would be mine. But it was a dumb gimmick. It was an 80s gimmick, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I go. You know, okay, one. Oh, really? I really, for some strange reason, I loved Fake Razor and Fake Diesel. I loved the FU of it. I loved that. At least one of them went on to success. I hear one of them's the governor or mayor in Knoxville.
Any love for the Huckster and Nacho Man?
I am still annoyed on any version of WrestleMania 12. That pre-show match with the Huckster and the Nacho Man has not made it on the VHS tape, the DVD, the any of the sets. It's not on the network. It's like they've erased it for some reason.
It's on
YouTube?
One DVD somewhere in the headquarters.
Yeah.
You know what? I've never even checked YouTube. Maybe it is. I don't know why I'm not. Nah, I'm looking it up now while we're speaking.
Yeah, there were. I don't know. There have been a few that I've enjoyed. A lot of people forget ECW had some gimmicks that were kind of dumb on paper, but worked. Those big Amish roadkill fan, and they made them work.
Yeah.
So the right booking. So the other, this is interesting for me because I kind of get why they're doing it, but I can't see any way that this is a good idea, and that's rushing Ronda Rousey into the title picture with no bills, Nia Jax. What do you guys think of that? Because I can't quite think how you book that, how you book that and make it work this early.
I mean, I saw they did when I heard about it, it was like on social media, or I might have got one of those alerts. I have the network on my phone. I think it pops up like, this just happened. That's how I originally heard about it. But I heard there was like a segment they did on Monday Night Raw having Nia Jax basically, I forget where they were. They were at some sort of opening for something, and having her kind of put the challenge out to her is why it's happening.
They were at the They were at the NBC upfront to announce all the shows.
Okay. But again, very rushed. It feels. I don't really know. Having her only had the one match and it being an intergender tag team match, we haven't even seen her compete in singles action. Kind of odd choice, but it looks like they're kind of doing the same thing Well, not that Asuka hasn't deserved an opportunity for the title, but now they're doing. It seems like they're just doing 2 big matches. They got Asuka and Carmella on SmackDown, and Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax on Raw.
I saw that too, and my first thought was, how do you not hurt one of the 4 women in that process? Because both matches are basically the same, like with Ronda and Asuka being in the same position. They're both going against basically a first. Wait, I don't know if Carmella's had a title defense already. Is this her first?
She only
defended
it, I think, against Charlotte. As a rematch.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, she's okay. So she did have one. Well, in the case of Nia and Ronda, it's Nia's first title defense. So if she immediately loses it, that's gonna. How do you take Nia seriously anymore? And vice versa. If Ronda doesn't get it, how do you take her seriously anymore? It's kind of like.
I definitely agree with that. They put it over a few times now, and it's true. She's transitioning from MMA to pro wrestling. So I don't think if you take someone that's the caliber that Ronda Rousey is, and you put her in there with the women's champion, and the women's champion prevails, I don't think that makes Ronda weak. It just shows this is a different sport. She's got to learn how to come into her own in pro wrestling. I think
I agree with that.
It does feel rushed.
I agree with that, but I don't think the general public's going to look at it that way.
It's true.
I think where they're going with the random face turn for Natalya, I mean, that's kind of what I was figuring they were building up to. It's kind of early for maybe Natalya to cost her the match, but that's kind of what I feel like they might do, because I'm a big believer, and WWE's dropped the ball on this a lot lately, that your first run should be a good run. I hate you're a 5-time champion and you've not even held the belt for 6 months total sort of philosophy. The first run should be a good one. So I just can't see, not that I'm a huge Nia fan, but I just don't think she should be dropping it this early.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So yeah, that's I don't know, but I am excited to see it. Again, it's a singles match, and Nia's not somebody that I see carrying her very well. So that's I don't know. I hope it's not a train wreck, but she's surprised us at WrestleMania, so hopefully it'll be decent. And I guess the last question that we did have, the guy concept. This is something I've talked to a lot of people about. Is that officially dead now? Not to bring up Roman again. I know that's a sore spot for you, Ozzy, but is it done now? Is the idea that we have to have a Hulk Hogan type that's going to, or it's John Cena type that's going to carry the ball for 15 years, is that outdated now? Is that something that it should die, that we just, there's going to be a bunch of guys?
I don't think it's something that should die. I think maybe it's something that's coming to an end in WWE specifically.
Yeah.
But because this kind of goes back to the whole baby face and heel thing. Is there really baby faces and heels anymore? It almost feels like it's both. You're both now.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who said it. It might have been Triple H. I don't remember what the conversation, what context it happened in, but I remember them saying something. I think it was about John Cena. When are you going to turn John Cena heel? And he made the comment sort of, well, isn't he already? You guys are doing it. And it's like, I don't know. I don't think, and at this time, they have a few guys that could be the guy.
Yeah.
But they continue to kind of flounder around, and it kind of seems like they're hot potatoing between who the guy is right now. And again, so I think that's kind of coming to an end. Because really, at this point in the game, you're Vince McMahon. Who would you put as the guy right now in WWE on Monday Night Raw or on SmackDown?
Right now, I mean, there are talent, main event talent overload. right now, not even just on Raw and SmackDown. I mean, NXT, it's just ridiculous how many people could fill that role. But I would say realistically, Seth Rollins on Raw.
Yep.
I mean, guy's barely into his 30s. The Shane Backlash was pissed on so much, because rightfully so, but that match with Miz, I mean, Jesus, that was the classic. He's a safe bet.
I like Rollins. I mean, the obvious one I think too is AJ Styles. But again, AJ, Samoa Joe, these guys, they're not, they're not old, but they're not getting any younger. They're starting to get up there in age.
AJ
40 or close.
AJ and Joe are both close to 40, which in wrestler years that's not young.
Right.
AJ is 40, yeah.
But see, that's a guy though. I don't know if he's necessarily a face, but I'd like to see them do more with him. Is Samoa Joe? I feel like he's kind of like the package right now.
Yes, Todd and I have been, ever since they both signed, we've been dying for AJ and Joe. I know it's coming. I don't know. I don't see Nakamura getting the title right now, which is a shame. I fucking love him as a heel now. I think he's on the right path. But
so much better.
Oh God, yeah. He'll probably end up getting cheered more. Back to the previous question, but his promos have been good. I don't know how I feel about the whole thing being built up around kicking each other in the nuts, but it is what it is.
Here's my take on fire, man.
Oh God! Here's my take on the guy thing. The concept of the guy as we know it is done. They could still have the guy, but they have to be willing to accept the fact the guy they pick is not the guy. Roman is not the guy.
No.
Hell, they could have made Braun the guy. Seth Rollins has the ability to be the guy. It's just the fact that it's who Vince wants to be the guy, and if he's not, he's going to push him and make him as much as he can be the guy. And
it's funny. You said Braun. He's not even a champion, but
no.
I kind of feel like if you were going to name anybody as the guy right now, I kind of think it's him. I mean, he's selling the merch. He's super over, not even just with the crowd, but with the children. The kids love him.
Yeah.
And he's still, again, this kind of goes back to the whole baby and heel thing. Braun's a fucking heel, but he's become this super baby face doing the heel shit he's been doing.
Yeah.
It's almost kind of similar to, I guess you could say Austin, when Austin just did heel stuff, but he just kind of naturally turned into a face. Obviously, it wasn't kid-friendly, but with Braun, it just happens to be that case. And, I mean, if you really think about the whole guy concept, we talked about Hulk Hogan, and then we talk about John Cena. But, I mean, like, there's that huge point between early 90s, between Bret and Shawn and, going into the Attitude Era, when there was a point when it felt like Austin and Rock were pretty much, like, neck and neck, and neither one was more over than the other guy. And maybe that's just the way, like, wrestling is evolving. Like, we had the guy in John Cena, okay, but now John Cena's done. Now we're going through this kind of, like, where there's not going to be one guy for a while, I guess, to say, because, like, Braun Strowman, I would agree, like, he's the guy who's selling the merch, great with the kids, but, like, they're not pushing him like the guy, so maybe they're realizing that they're just going to start spreading the ball or spreading it out some more, but maybe they won't. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, I mean,
and it's hard
if you
for
look at
anybody. Oh, go ahead, Todd.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, if you look at the Attitude Era, they didn't have, like, the guy. You can argue, yes, it was Austin, but you had Austin, The Rock, Mick Foley, Triple H. I mean, other guys at that title could go here or there, and it was believable. You don't have that now, where it's like you can believe all these people can credibly have the title like you used to be able to. And that's not me just pining for the Attitude Era, because I like other eras of wrestling, and there's always been good and bad in all of them. Mae Young Kid's a good example of the bad.
Right. You hit the nail on the head right there. There's I guess not as many dominant, credible threats. I mean, the only guy I can really think of is somebody that's a credible threat, no matter what match you put him in. The way they sell him is Brock Lesnar. Throw Brock out there, you don't know what the fuck's going to happen. So they need to kind of get it back to that realisticness, where you really don't know what could happen from Monday to Tuesday. You know what I mean? I'd like to see it kind of come back to something like that.
Absolutely, and it's hard now because there's like so many fucking hours of TV to fill, so anybody runs the risk of becoming stale. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Attitude Era. Truthfully, there was a lot of shit in the Attitude Era too. It was popular, but if you go back and look at certain things now, and it wasn't all total brilliance either. But yeah, Braun, I've got to think soon. These random tag matches they're having him work, I don't know. We've got just a tiny bit of time left. Do you think Roman headlines WrestleMania again, or are they finally, after that mess this year, do you think they'll finally give that up?
I honestly think he will be in the main event again. I just think he'll be coming in as champion.
Okay. Well, we'll see. That's I could kind of see them doing it, so I'm not.
Yeah.
I would not be shocked.
Unless XFL takes Vince away and completely distracts him from WWE, he's going to try to make Roman the big dog.
No, he can play in XFL, and he came from football. Be there, draw.
Speaking of XFL, something kind of interesting. I mean, like, I'm not changing the subject to XFL, but I bring this up because considering the future is nearing up, McMahon sold a bunch of shares of WWE to create this new entertainment company that's funding the XFL. Like you said, I think it's a strong possibility that the XFL could pull Vince away enough to when, like, we may see some major shit hit the fan and just, like, somebody else takes over because Vince is now like, okay, I'm done with this here. I'm going to try to do this here. And try, and I just have that feeling that could happen. And then if that's the case, who the fuck knows what's going to happen? That'll, like, turn the world upside down, especially if there's a possibility, rumored out there that they might even sell. That would be, just completely change shit up, I think.
Well, what happened with their deal?
Something about.
Oh, I was going to say that new TV deal for 3 times the amount they were getting is, just for Raw is gonna help push a sale if they want to sell to a Disney or whoever. Or I can't remember who bought the UFC, but they were talking about almost packaging them together. Right? Oh, okay. I think you're right.
Speaking of UFC, though, is that they were just on Fox, and now that leaves a void on Fox, and Fox has all this disposable cash from this Disney deal because they held on to their sports networks, and if they're going to lose the UFC, it might be smart for them to buy something like that. As you said, Dan, that there's so much TV time to fill, and they have the networks that I'm sure they would want to fill them with.
Well,
with Disney, though, so then, like, WWE would be associated with Disney?
Yes.
No. In that deal, Disney didn't buy the Fox Sports section. That was the only division of Fox that stayed.
No.
With
No,
Fox
and
Sports
the networks.
with
they
ESPN
still,
as well.
No, they still have the networks. Like Fox, here in LA, they have Fox 11.
Right.
So they could theoretically go after SmackDown too.
Yeah.
My figure live wrestling show. Would they put a live wrestling show on network TV? Because otherwise, then, like, would they switch to tapes?
I don't know why they wouldn't do live on network. Just have to be on Tuesday.
Well, the big fear is NXT might change because I've heard a lot of rumors that might become a network show, which I would hate to see because I think it would take away the charm. But I don't know. I heard rumors of that a while back.
It'd be interesting to see if that actually happens. I mean, I feel like they tested it out. I don't know if it happened more than once. I remember I think they had like a whole like WWE week. It might have been right before WrestleMania, and they had NXT on USA, and I think it did well for them. So, I guess it's smart in their book to do it, but I agree it might take away for what makes it so unique.
Yeah, just that intimate crowd flow and everything. I mean, that's not to say they can't still tape there, but I don't know. I think it would change.
See, that actually would be really cool, is if they had, like, they kept the crowd, they kept everything the same, but they just, made themselves better than, I prefer them over Raw or SmackDown, but kind of like make that kind of war, but still keep that small crowd. I think that would be really cool. And that might actually work, and you wouldn't lose that charm, because then you get everybody's attention who's watching on Mondays and Tuesdays. Oh, shit, what's this show happening on Wednesday? I'm going to check this out. But if it's, as you said, if it's a big arena, you lose everything, because what makes it so fun to watch, I think, like half of it for me is the fact that, like, it's so small, so in such an intimate setting, that kind of attitude would be a breath of fresh air to people who are normally used to tuning in to Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, and you may not see, certain talents that have flopped on the main roster but had great runs in NXT. It would be very different, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, they still have network time to fill too, but yeah. So we're coming about to the end of the show now. We hope you guys enjoyed this. And if you want to hear us talk about anything, feel free to communicate with us online, on Facebook, and where have you. Send us your questions, and we will be happy to get to them. We will be back in 2 weeks, correct, Todd?
Yes, but you could still catch next Thursday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. You could still catch the new episode of UITV on Vimeo. Ozzy, do you know what's going to be on that episode?
Yeah, we're actually going to be recapping a little bit of Mother's Day Massacre. Did a few clips post-event, I should say, over at the event at the VFW. We should be highlighting Max Ammo and Jimmy Mayhem, Urban Discipline, going up against the heavy hitters. Hopefully looking to put an end to that rivalry. And we believe hear some words from Max Ammo as well on that episode, so it's surely not one to miss.
Awesome. Definitely check that out. And check out Flesh Wound Radio on Wednesdays now, our new day and time of 9 p.m. Eastern. And, great first show, guys. It was awesome being on with you. And Flesh Wound Dan on eBay. Buy some shit, as always. I appreciate it. And, Todd, do you have anything else to plug?
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and plug the UEW Facebook.
Yes.
Kyle, do you know I'm sure you know the dresses by heart much better than I do, because the Instagram and all them, I screw up.
You would think I do.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll do the ones I know.
We're Underground. I know on Instagram for sure it's just all one word, Underground Empire Wrestling. On Facebook, I'm not sure what our backslash is or whatever that is, but you can just simply search Underground Empire Wrestling.
That one is Underground Empire Wrestling. I do know that.
Okay. I'm not sure what the Twitter handle is, but we'll get a better grasp on that. We should know.
I know. I know. It was a long weekend. I think that one is UEW Wrestling, if I'm not mistaken.
And I know we're coming to a wrap here, but I did just get a couple emails right now, and we were just going over something. I could actually announce a match for Pledge Your Allegiance if you guys want to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
It's actually something we were talking about earlier. I guess we have come to a decision. Kind of goes back to what we said. Mike Rain's been kind of running through the entire roster, so we're actually going to give a newcomer, somebody I've been waiting for a long time to see over here at PW. We are going to have the Eastern Pacific Championship on the line at Pledge Your Allegiance. Mike Rain will go one-on-one with outlandish Zicky Dice. And if you're not familiar with Zicky Dice, you guys are in for a surprise. This guy, he's a behemoth, and he's got style. So it's going to be interesting. I think putting him in the ring with somebody like Mike Rain, we may now have an opportunity to see the title change hands. I don't know if Mike Rain's ready for this.
Very cool.
Shit. That sounds like that's going to be a hell of a match.
Yes. The card's going to continue to get stacked. When we do these shows, if we haven't announced something yet, we'll go ahead and see if we're at that point where we can go ahead and try and drop a match announcement here on Squared Circle Society.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank
you guys.
Shit. I've had such a fucking day going on today. I forgot. I actually have a little bit of a surprise for you as well, Todd. I know I didn't even get to talk to you about this yet. You're going to be in for a surprise as well.
Oh, shit.
I don't know if I'm 100% jumping the gun on this, but I'm just so fucking excited to find out that it seems like we're going to have this go through. After July 7th will be our final event at the VFW. And I know for a long time the Fiends have been talking, the Fiends have been wanting, they've been asking. We have not been ignoring you. Your prayers have not fallen on deaf ears because UEW will return to Los Angeles starting in August. We will be back.
Yeah.
There's a new spot. It's called the Spot LA. And it's definitely a bigger house. It's similar to what the Underground Arena was like, only bigger. So get ready. This is a lot more for us. It means us going back from every other month to going every month. So we're looking at August, September, October, running in LA. So stay tuned to the UW social media for more information on that.
I think
awesome
that's
news.
Okay, well, heading back to monthly. That's awesome.
Yeah. Switching gears. A little earlier than we expected, but hey, I think it's going to be worth it, and I think a lot of people are going to be very pleased with the new digs. I know these guys that run the spot, they're being very cool. They want to make sure that there's a place for all wrestling brands to be able to run their events and kind of, unity, have us build each other up, and I'm all about that. And, it's going to be a great partnership, and I see beautiful things coming for us.
Very, very cool.
That's going to be awesome.
I'm stoked.
All right, well,
yeah, that rules.
Yeah, definitely. I am excited now too. Well, shit, we're leaving on a high. So just to leave it, we'll be back next week. And anything else before we have our outro song?
I think
that
that's it.
$20 still stands.
All right.
For any of those events.
Ozzy's about to collect the bounty. This one's for you.